Stories need time. Stories need to slow down. We need to understand that. And I think we're not allowing ourselves that time to slow down. And I believe education has actually a unique role to play. 15 years, pretty much they're going nowhere. I mean, if you look at it in just the school system, 15 years they will. Okay, and in those 15 years, you can probably dramatically slow down or increase or figure out whatever pace that you might want to. And that's really what I've seen. I mean, if I'm looking at just the 14 years of the time that I've spent with the children, it's been so strong. It's not been a fast one. I believe I have the luxury of time on my hands. I was in no hurry. I took a year at a time to build the school and understand the children and see their faces and their smiles and their eyes and their hearts. And I think those stories were far more compelling than what emerged. I mean, what has emerged, of course, that the children are outperforming. Okay, that's all good. That's the data that might be separate. But I think the fact that these children are telling us that they need to be listened to, that they need to be loved, they need to be hugged. Another thing that I keep saying is that we're not hugging our children. And the body, I keep saying, has a sense, has a memory. And the more you touch the body, it has a memory of neglect. If you don't, there's a memory of abuse and there's a memory of care. The body knows that. And I think when the body knows that, it tells the mind that, it tells the heart that. And I think that's I'm learning much more. And by making that the glue of the education process or whatever that you might call it, it makes remarkable shifts in the worldview of these children. So when they graduate, they're more likely to be better husbands, I feel. Fabulous fathers, great wives. I just feel that so much changes. Not just they will be doing better in social interactions in their employment or their career or the fact that they will get better jobs. All that I believe is a given. But we don't talk enough about being better friends. We don't talk. The data that tells us about employability. It doesn't tell us about lifeability. That was even a word. So I believe it's never been more important now. And I see with the children that have come through this.
Well, there are two things. One, the slowing down issue, which is really, I think, huge. I've heard the phrase slowing down to the pace of wisdom. I mean, I suppose that must have been helped in your case by the fact that you had your son, who was your first sort of case study, right? And so you couldn't go faster than that little body, right?
Yeah. And I think it started, of course, my journey with the fact that we were so quick that we didn't even notice names. My son, I'm telling you, I don't think the teacher even knew what his name was. He was one of 60 children in the class, and I don't think she even knew. And so therefore, what is amazing, and this was a premier school. I'm talking about premier schools where we taste success, and then success really kind of muddies any kind of lens that you look at. So I think this school is very successful. The tragedy is that the 1% that emerge from schools like that believe that, listen, we turned out fine, so the system is fine, which couldn't be more wrong. That 1% that turns out fine has absolutely, they would have done it irrespective of the system, right? So it has nothing to do with the system that they come from. So we tend to kind of look at our own lives and say, but we turned out all right. What's the big problem? It's all right.
Well, right, and who knows how much better we could have turned out with a couple of extra hugs. Or, I mean, I'm very intrigued by, again, the word healing came up in the presentation you made, and you mentioned abuse. Like, is it when you have them young? I mean, who knows what their bodies have learned. Functionally or dysfunctionally, and by creating an environment for them that has kind of the right loving context?
Emotional safety, and I think so much of the work in education has been about let's make the corners round of the furniture. Okay, we make our school child-proof, as it were. But in that child-proofing, we cannot remove. It becomes a sterile environment, and I think so much of the focus is on the physical safety, which is right, which should be focused on, but the emotional safety that comes from. I think that mind believing that they are fine and they don't have to change to be loved, and that they just because they are fabulous. So just that is just a marvelous thing you can give a child. And I think I've seen them flourish. I've seen these little children, and they're all grown taller than me now, and they all kind of become, big, and they hold me with this, I came out, and they come back. The fabulous thing I've seen is the graduating batches. I've had 2 batches graduate, and they all kind of come back whenever they've got a holiday, just to be in the space, to just come back and say, hey, this is where I am.
So hopefully they will in their turn create places to be.
I believe that. I 100% believe. I believe that their workspaces will be more sensitive for each other and towards each other. I think their homes will be filled with laughter and love. I believe that. I absolutely believe that. I know that each of them walking out is going to make that their biggest story that they will take out. Everything else.
So finally, you come from design, and there's kind of 2 things that I retained from what you were saying about it. One is kind of turning the lens on the person who is the user experience, and the other is sort of like a sense of confidence that things can be redesigned. I mean, anything can be understood and creatively reconfigured.
Yeah, but I think the distinction really is not to force the reconfiguration, and I think that's what I've learned. I've learned that it is not about let's be different. Let's come up with a coffee cup that has a new way of handle just because it's different. Let's paint it purple and make it speak. I don't think we need more coffee cups doing that. I think if, for instance, it meant that there was a person who was left-handed and it was a coffee cup that was designed for that ease of experience, by all means, please do that. So I think that design makes a huge distinction between being different and making a difference, and creating a difference for the user experience. But that is such a simple, logical common sense. The fact that the user experience improves, loyalty goes up. Just look at the beauty of the loyalty. That means loyalty to the product, to the idea, all of that goes up. So I just feel that the work is not often enough to ensure that the experience is enhanced, because if one were to look at it economically and talk about it in terms of, say, money, it's loyalty that goes up to expenses. You look at anything. You look at going to a movie experience. You look at buying a car. You look at going to a park. Just the fact that access is better or the service is better. We go to a restaurant. Why do we have to go to a particular restaurant? Because maybe the waiter smiled at you and remembered your name and said, "Oh, you're back. I remember you last time you had that. Oh, that's great. Son, you want to sit?" I'm somebody who noticed.
Well, yes, but I mean, I have to say that in your delivery, user experience has a lot more depth and humanity, and includes, I don't know, a degree of heart that, and empathy.
Yes. I keep saying you cannot design for somebody, you have to design with them. And the with comes by understanding who is this person, what are their patterns, what are their behaviors, what disturbs them, what moves them, what stirs them. And and you have to slow down. That's the fun part of it. You have to. The feel portion, I mean, if I look at the 4 steps of this process, feel, imagine, do, and share. Feel by demand tells you. Have conversations, dig deeper, find out why. Be a fly in the wall and just watch. Where do they walk in first? Where do the kids love to go? Just observe. Just slow down. And in that slowing down, I call it a pause ability. Gives you possibility. You know, so it's an interesting way. We've always thought, my God, we're on a roll, we're on a roll. You have to get it because the next test, the next thing. So there is no space for refinement. And real learning, we all know, comes from refinement. I like having sort of Eric had shared a little bit. First, I have a hypothesis, then I go back and I co-construct it or I deconstruct it, and then I offer a second hypothesis. It means I have to have a time to refine my initial idea, right? And we don't give children time to refine or to test an idea or to figure out that it could be elevated by another's idea.
Absolutely. All right, I said finally, I'm just going to ask you this, but you don't have to answer. Did you know Eric before?
No, I didn't.
No, okay. Well, I'm going to turn it off. But well, it's just that I was, again, with him, very surprised to see a teacher of physics saying that you have to have, application of real life skills, real life context, social good and empathy. That's what a physics
teacher said.
Yeah.
I mean, we in fact at a coffee break we spoke a lot about empathy being a very cool.
You did?
Yeah, we did.
Well, what did you say?
We were just talking, and he said, "I love the fact that you brought empathy up." And I said, "Well, the design process starts with empathy." It's exactly. That's really what I keep talking about. We're missing that.
But why does he do what? That is it. Where does that come from in him? Do you know? Or?
I think I find a lot of physics. I mean, when you really are interested in the world, because physics is really about the way the world functions. It's about you and the world, right? And it's about understanding your place in the world. I think you cannot have empathy. So I think just the sheer act of being is important.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you so much. God bless you. Wow.